Alright, it's looking like one truck bed is about one bed. So Sandy and Ben they want to help, so Sandy just got here and Ben's gonna be here soon. And then Tori's setting up the curing in the nursery tunnel and get this thing done. Big thanks to Sandy and Ben for helping with the onions. This is part of it. Yeah, it's a good bit of onions there. So we have this spot set up in the nursery to cure them, a trailer outside, and in the basement. We ran out of space in the basement, so this was my idea to set them up out here. The canopy tent with shade cloth over the back, and it's on the trailer, so if it does rain, you can move this by hand and I'll just put it in the garage out of the rain, and that should be good. Okay, this is the basement. So there's some there. They're on plastic crates raised off the ground. That's on the table. This is on the table with the garlic, some underneath, and part of the microgreen shelf up here. So it'll probably take a few more days down here for these guys to cure right, and then we'll figure out how we're gonna store them in the cooler. We did sell a good bit last week fresh to the Honey Hog. They are using them in onion rings, and then we also sold some at the market. It's always a fun time with the onions. All that came from 5 beds, 500-foot beds, 6-inch spacing, 4 rows. Like, that's the cool thing about market gardening is those beds produced a lot for us last season. Now it was the onions, and now we're gonna clean up those beds here today or tomorrow and get weed mat down and put the next succession of squash in there. But before that, we gotta get this tunnel done. So Tori just pulled out the plastic. Actually, we gotta prep it first. George's transplant.
Kohlrabi, bunching onions, head lettuce.
I'm gonna do some bed prep so that Tori can keep planting, and then I gotta spend a lot of time with the tomatoes today. Get the tomato hands again. So just got to the last one after doing these. Took a long time. I didn't do them last week, really busy. That's something that you don't want to do. I regret not doing it last week, but it just creates way more things to deal with and a lot more issues, and you allow pests to reproduce more, you allow the sucker growth to grow out more, and it wastes soil nutrients and tons of other things. So it's important to stay on top of it. But basically, all we're doing is taking these lower leaves off in between these fruits. You can see up all these, the foliage is off, and then taking the suckers off. That's a sucker here. You can see it comes out of the node here. Cut that one off, take that one off, cut this one off, cut that one off. See a little one growing. You can see this little one here. And then this one up top, you leave it on there until you're trellising it. I'll show you why. And when you're stringing these up, it's actually pretty easy and can sometimes happen to where you break the top out. And so this top of the plant here is where the growth is focused, and it's called apical dominance. So if you were to break that off, the growth would then be focused here on this sucker, or here on this sucker. And since this is already big and it's actually developing flowers, if I were to break this off the top, then this would be the new top of the plant. But since I didn't break it, I only broke one today. Sucks, but it's the way it is. I can take that off, and then all the growth now in the whole plant is going to be focused on the fruit production on the bottom, in the foliage here, and growing out. So as you prune these guys, you have your fruit structures, your foliage, and then you have like this 4 or 5 foot section of the plant. That's all you really maintain is this. That's what's going to be fruiting the whole time, and then this is just going to become an empty stem that gets, you know, 12, 15 feet, however long, throughout your growing season. So you want to rake this stuff out because the aphids and the whiteflies have been pretty contained in the lower foliage when we released the green lacewings last week with green lacewing eggs, so that's really cool. So I'm just gonna rake this out, and then I just bring it out here, and then I mow it to try and make sure that hopefully it kills all the pests and they don't get back in. Okay, coming through and getting this onion plot prepped and seeded, so wheel hoe, rake, some styrofoam in some areas, flame weeder, and then this is the compost, and then now it's time for amendments and PDR. So we had a storm come, and so we had to seed these real quick and put the camera away. So we just decided to do the other 3. So slipping the whole onion plot, and that's it. What do we seed?
I got gold beets, red beets, purple beets.
Purple radish?
Yeah, purple radish. Half bed of pink radish, half bed of red, arugula, and lettuce mix.
Stuff we try and grow year round. We were gonna do squash over here, but we switched that up just because of the way the irrigation's set up, and there's other places that we can put it that make more sense. It's supposed to rain again later, but we want to make sure that these guys the seeds get watered in really well. So we'll water it now, and then first thing tomorrow morning put the silage tarp over it. It's the same method that I showed last week. It just holds the moisture there, and the white side reflects the sun, so it keeps it cool. It doesn't really heat it up. And then probably in a few days, a couple days, we'll be ready to take it off and they'll be ready. Got this bag of onions here. Super busy day today. Just got a ton of stuff to do, and it's just us doing everything. So, but that is now tarped so that it will germinate better. And we do that for pretty much everything, especially this time of year, because it's hard to keep it watered enough, especially if they're cool season crops. I explained that method in the last vlog, so if you want to see more about that, it's there. The Honey Hog ran out of salad, so we're going to be taking more to them this evening, so kind of messed up the flow of work, but got to keep them supplied. Friday, super busy, like crazy. People are gonna start showing up in like 2 hours, and we're like way behind peak sun gold time, so that it'll probably be like that for a while. And got the slicer tomatoes. Big thanks to neighbor Phil. He helped us put this AC unit in the root cellar here, and so we're able to store these tomatoes now. Able to store them at that's mead, by the way, so don't freak out. It's like honey wine. Yeah, those tomatoes here. Beneath these guys, we got the red slicers. So we can keep this at 65 or 60 to 70 to store like the warm season stuff. We have cucumbers up in here, squash, peppers are gonna be down here. Yeah, I told Phil about that AC unit in there, and he like showed up and did it in a couple hours. Still loaded with onions down here curing. The garlic's almost done. Yeah, these racks, everything here is just that's just so much stuff. Harvesting peppers.
Yeah.
The area that we tarped and seeded is now germinated. So we're gonna keep the water on that for a while and get some insect net over it and really try and soak it in so they can get established. Ideally, we would do that later in the day, but we already have enough stuff to do today. So the onions are just about done curing here. You can see what it looks like, and the bulb is really hard. So yeah, these are on our market tables, which we have to load tomorrow morning. So we have to do something with all of these still today. Yeah, there's some real nice ones in here. Probably cut up a good bit of these and load them for the market tomorrow. And then the other ones, but to find room in the basement or the root cellar or something. Maybe we put them on those tables since we don't have microgreens on them right now. I have no idea. I guess I never really explained how to grow the onions. So we prep the beds, amend them. We amend for what our soil needs, and onions prefer extra nitrogen and phosphorus, and they do really well with endomycorrhizae, so I put a lot of that on there. And yeah, pretty low maintenance too. Like, I don't come and cut them, I don't push them over or anything. We just keep them as weed free as we can, and then harvest them and cure them. This variety should last for 5 months in storage. It's a storage variety, and thanks to April, our extension agent, who told me about this kind for the southeast. It's a really good variety. It's called Highlander, and that's what we grow. What do you think, George?
I'm scared to be up here, but it's pretty cool.
This is our fireworks spot. Long days this time of year.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Today was so hot.
yeah, we start at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever, it's fine. It's 4th of July. Okay, we moved here 6 years ago today. Yeah. We actually drove overnight on July 3rd and then started unloading stuff the morning of July 4th from Ohio to North Carolina.
And then we went and watched fireworks down by the river.
The Whitewater Center.
Yay, happy 6-year North Carolina anniversary. Those people spend money too.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot of money on fireworks.
I'm gonna try and pickle all of our leftover veggies from this week. So there's onions, fennel, celery, some herbs from our neighbor, shishitos, tomatoes, beets, radishes, cabbage, and just pickle it all. See how it turns out.
So the markets went a little slower yesterday, but it was a holiday. It was the 4th, so they're kind of hit and miss. And not that big of a deal. It's still a good week. So tree of the week, before I forget, the Rose of Sharon. I'm just going to go over this one now that it's flowering. This is starting to flower. This is a hibiscus, so it's also known as perennial hibiscus or Rose of Sharon. You can see the hibiscus in the flower there. Japanese beetles love this thing, so it's nice that it can trap all these beetles and you can flick them and kill them or whatever. So you have this shape of leaf here. It's normally pretty serrated, and you always have this look of the tree of, especially in the winter, these will be brown, and it flowers on new wood, so that's another cool thing. So it doesn't hold flower buds over the winter, and so you can cut them back in the spring and have them flower pretty good. I was reading some quick thing in the book, that was a bee. Yeah, you can see the beetles there. Yeah, Rose of Sharon. That was cool. My mom's name is Sharon, so it's pretty neat. Long hot week. It feels like right now, due to the humidity, is 94. So, and it's noon. So definitely running a ton of irrigation today. Maybe even hand watering some spots. That's the way it goes. It seems to be the extremes this year. A frost in mid-May, which is a month after the average frost date. High 80s in March. The extremely heavy rain events, and now this real high heat. July 4th is kind of a time here, this is North Carolina, where cool season crops are really hard to push through. So we'll see what we can do. It's supposed to rain this week. That's going to help a lot. And so for next week, we got a ton of beds to flip, a lot of planting to do, and just another week. Thanks for watching, guys.